we'll go into that in more detail. And so here we are in chapter 13. So again, very understandable, very attainable. Oh, one thing that I wanted to mention, I'll mention it now, just to bring Stellarium in. I'm going to pause here real quick. So at the end of the ministries, this is just prior to Armageddon, at the end of the ministries of Pompeia and Justitia, they are both in the constellations with two characters. In the zodiac, in the Mazareth, which is the Hebrew term for it. Justitia is in Gemini, and Pompeia is in Pisces. I mean, how can you line these up any better? I don't know. But I was blessed by that, and I wanted to call that out this time. Okay, so we just looked at the first beast, and now we're going to be introduced to the second, and this is going to be the New World Order system. This is going to be headed by the Antichrist, and we'll see later the false prophet, and we also see that particular order being manifested in the heavens. We're introduced to the Antichrist this December, and then the false prophet. I believe that was in February, January, the early part of next year. So, Lord, please bless us, bless the hearing of your word. I came into the awareness that I hadn't popped the Bible open for scripture like we love to do here. So let's do that now. Lord, please show us marvelous things in your word, the Psalms. Okay, I've got a couple of portions underlined, but this is where I'm going to go first. Psalm 15, 1 and 2. Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? He whose walk is blameless, and who does what is righteous. And then Psalm 13, but I trust in your unfailing love, 5 and 6. My heart rejoices in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, for he has been good to me. In these times, that's exactly what he wants. Whether you are in the tribulation or you are in the rapture or before the rapture, however this goes, he loves you. He wants to be right there with you, and he promises that he will be. Verse 1 of chapter 13 of Revelation, and I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Okay, so let me double check. We've got 7 heads, 10 horns, and then 10 crowns. And here we have 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns. So there's a different order, which there is some significance in that. I did read, but again, suffice it to say that these are government systems. All right, continuing on. And the beast, verse 2, I didn't finish reading. Did I finish? I'll just start over. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. So very similar. The beast, in terms of their setup, is similar, but it is slightly different. Now let's look at the description. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Okay, we're not dealing with a red dragon. We've got a different setup here. The beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Interesting that that is a animal from Africa. And there's a camp saying that Obama, who has roots in Kenya, will be the Antichrist. I don't know. God hasn't revealed that to me specifically. I have no reason to doubt it. But there are, Stephen Ben-Nun says it's going to be a reincarnated Nimrod. And there may be validity to that, but that's still going to be from the African continent. Continuing, the beast I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. So the dragon is still overseeing this other setup, this other government. Verse 3, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after this beast. So this could be some sort of resurrection. So that could tie into Nimrod, or something could happen to Barack Obama, or some people say Donald Trump could be this character. Doesn't matter to me. Verse 4, and they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? So we've got China really dominating the world at this time. And people understanding, submitting to this world power, giving, worship, if you will, to this world power. Now, we've talked about it in the past, how God can forgive people who, wanted a king. Let's say I believe it's in First Chronicles, definitely in the book of Samuel, 2 Samuel, how the people wanted a king, the people in Israel, and it grieved God deeply, but he consented. They wanted to be like the other kingdoms. He said, okay, I will give you a king, but he's going to subject your daughters and your sons to servitude. He's going to take your taxes, going to take your land. He's going to do whatever you want. They said, we don't care. Give us a king. That's going to happen in the tribulation as well. And yet, when they realize that it's not a king, our earthly system that they want, they will return to God, and he will welcome them back with open arms. King isn't the answer. A beast isn't the answer. Image isn't the answer. Only God is. And that's why people are going through this tribulation, to realize, hey, I didn't spend time in the Bible like I should have. I didn't pursue God like I should have. But I'm going to do that now. He is my God. And that's going to be a tough decision. It's going to be martyrdom for many people. But there's going to be that everlasting glory. This isn't the first generation to experience martyrdom. Martyrdom happens all over the world. I digress. All right. Verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. So we're talking about the Antichrist here. And we've talked about in other videos, 42 months, 1,260 days, 3.5 years. These are just general time frames, somewhere in the middle of this 7-year period that's called out in Daniel. And we'll go over that a little bit more when we look at chapter 16. I've got a diagram all ready for you. But for now, we're just going to keep plugging away. Verse 6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. And this could be, Antichrist comes out in December, January. There could be that war with the saints. And to overcome them. We'll come back to that word at the end of this study, if I remember, because I've got a page pulled up for that. And to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. That's a clue back to those churches, the messages to the churches. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints. Okay, if you have practiced peace in your life, you will likely have a peaceful experience as long as you are digging into God during these times. And you practice wisdom. People are going to be turning on each other. I know that the temptation is to think, oh, we can, get in our little communities, and there is validity in that. But at the same time, do be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. As doves, you're going to have to be just as wise as they are, just as shrewd as they are. And that's going to be the fall for some, because they're going to try to be too nice and then wind up in a FEMA camp. Be wise. 11, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spake like a dragon. So we saw how this is the false prophet, and we can actually pop this up right now. We'll look at the Antichrist and the false prophet as they manifest in the heavens. All right, so jumping over to today. Today is October the 10th, a special day for someone out there, someone special. But we have Pompeii still highlighted. We see that Pompeii is in the constellation of Judah. The Lion of Judah is coming. This witness is testifying to that. We also have Justitia is in the mix. And Justitia will be witnessing, the conjunctions with Mercury. Mars is in conjunction, right in the thick of it now. And then Comet Soho will be coming in soon. We talked about Parima, how that is referencing the goddess of prophecy. Prophecy is coming true here. And Zaniah, that means kind of a bend. Another indication that things are changing. Okay, so we will follow the sun a little bit. I just want to make sure it doesn't move around too much on you. I hate when it does that. There we go. So we'll follow the sun a little bit. There's Soho. Again, it can come in and then it's going to go out. So don't be upset if it's not on one particular day. It's going to be hanging out here for a while. Stay in prayer. We got Vesta over here, our mountain asteroid that could, be hit by an incoming system, and that mountain asteroid could be thrown to the earth like a great mountain, as I believe it's the first or second trumpet. But what we're going to look for is Leonard, and I'm going to get that highlighted for you now that we've kind of looked at this. Oh, here's the scale. And we saw the other day that Venus was in the scale. Venus is no longer in the scale. So pray about what that, meant. Okay. So, this is November. That's why. If we go to today, we see that Venus is out of the scale. And now we're entering into Scorpio, which represents conflict. All right. So I've got it highlighted over here. And I just wanted to capture how ridiculous my software is being all of a sudden. This is just, the devices of Satan, obviously. But it's making it difficult for me to make these videos. So whatever. We've got Leonard over here. And as you can see, it's over here with the feet of a bear. It's going to have the mouth of a lion, the body of a leopard. In this case, we've got a lynx, but it's the same, thing in times past. So just to show you how this is being made difficult, I can't even, really maneuver this very well. But let's go ahead and do the best that we can. It just jumped again. Doggone it. Okay, so it's down here now. See, it's just being very difficult. Let's try. So Leonard, here's the sun, here's Mercury, and this is in August. And it's going to join this, the ecliptic line is going to cross over it. And that's going to be, we're still in the feet of a bear. near, the mouth of a lion, and then all of a sudden it's just going to do its thing. And the other planets are, I'm sorry how this is turning out. Here's Soho coming in for that rapture, and then the Antichrist comet right after that, just like it says in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, how the restrainer will be removed, the saints will be removed, and then, or at least those who are ready, and then the Antichrist comes onto the scene. Boom, just like that. Just like that. Okay, so hopefully, and again, this is December, and it's going to go make war on the saints. Now, look at that, Venus. And that is our 5th seal martyr planet. So that's all. That's all it is. It's just playing out in the heavens. Now let's try to get the false prophet. And to do that, really all we've got to do is follow the sun. There's Leonard making another appearance. That likely has some significance. And then there we go. Here is the false prophet. Let's back that up a little bit. The false prophet comet, C, at least that's what I'm reading it as, C 2021-03 Pan stars. It's going to be going near the sun, for a while. Oh, look at that. That's right in Pisces, the church constellation. So it's like, hey, I'm in the church. I'm just, just as godly as the sun, whatever. If this wasn't acting up, I'd do a little bit more, but maybe we don't need to, focus on the devices of Satan after all. But then it kind of sets itself up against the sun, and we've got that near conjunction when it's near Aries. The horns like a lamb, but speaks like a dragon. And we can watch that comet go right on up to Draco. And again, I apologize for how this is kind of acting up a little bit. Satan definitely does not want this to come out. And over here we've got Draco the dragon. And this comet is going to head right to it. There you go. Okay. Verse 12 of Revelation 13, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast. One moment. Before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by the sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the beast, unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now, let's back up a little bit. This verse, this is a verse that makes me cringe, and so many people have been like quoting it like it's, the end all, where it says, verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. They're like, ooh, everybody's going to get this. Well, not everybody. We've got to take it in context with the fact that there will be martyrs. There will be people standing up for their faith, saying, no, I'm not going to bow down and worship. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They didn't bow down, and they certainly would not have taken a mark. We saw in, I believe it was in chapter 3, with one of the churches that, plainly said, these people have not defiled their garments. Okay? Some were likely raptured, some likely went through the tribulation, but God was with them. So the other interesting thing is that the two witnesses will be here on earth during this time when people are presented with this mark, and God is not going to send two witnesses to people who cannot be redeemed. Okay, we've got to be wise about the things that we say. Some of the things that I've heard about people who have taken an injection are just appalling, or who have taken the mark of the beast whenever it comes. I'm not saying it has or hasn't come. My head says one thing and my spirit says something else. I just leave it at that. I give it to God. But just please be mindful. We'll get to it in the next chapter, but it's all, you have to be doing all three, the mark, the image, and the beast, in, for a while, for an extended period of time, in order to be cast into that punishment, that brimstone. It's not the lake of fire, but it is a very bad place. So just let's keep our words few and just pepper them and season them with love in these times, please. Okay, and the other thing that I'm kind of coming into awareness of is with the mark on the hand and the forehead. It's like, why would somebody get that? Well, we talked yesterday about how this giant is, that moves and speaks, this 10-story giant image is making its rounds. It's in Europe. It may come to the United States before the end of the year. It was scheduled to last month, but due to prayer, due to whatever, it's not, here yet. So keep praying, keep pushing that enemy kingdom back. One second, I just lost my train of thought. So, okay, so what I was just under the understanding of as I was reading that is the reason that people will get that mark either in their hand or forehead. People are saying that this image here, this giant, isn't the actual image that people will be worshiping. It's more likely going to be a hologram that is accessible all around the world, all at the same time, at least for those who have power, which much of the world won't have power. So you can't just say, oh, the two witnesses, they're going to be on CNN. There's not going to be a CNN, likely. If there's a news station at all, it's going to be government run anyway. The reason that this mark or microchip or whatever is going to be in the forehead or the hand is so that people can see this image and receive instructions or whatever, either by popping their hand up or just looking at it from, this projection from the forehead. That's what, the current, thought line of reasoning is. Now, let's go ahead and finish up with the Antichrist, because we just read about how this person is going to set themselves up in the temple. And we see that here in verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Okay, so again, I'm learning a lot of this with you, but I think that I've uncovered a significant event that entails the Antichrist and in the stars, so maybe we can put a time associated to it. All right, so we're heading back to December, and hopefully Stellarium's going to cooperate and it's not going to get too wonky on us. All right, so we're following Comet Leonard and just see, where he goes. In fact, I might just jump to the area that I was referencing. So in October of 2023, which is about a year before Armageddon, we see Leonard coming into Scorpio and also approaching the ecliptic line. And as we've said in the past, we're looking for those conjunctions with the sun, and that's when these celestial bodies indicate, that whatever they're representing is coming into full strength. So this is end of November, beginning of December. So it could be a significant event. Again, we're coming into the last stretch of the last the 70th week of the tribulation, that last stretch. So this could be when the image is brought out and people have to decide whether or not they're going to worship it. It's hard to say. I'm still studying these things, and actually I would have to compare that with some other things. Okay, so I just jumped over to our timeline here, and we've got, this is what I'm guessing, we've got the Antichrist setting himself up in the temple, December 2023. This could have something to do with the mark. It could have something to do with the image, but it's right before that third rapture that we looked at in Revelation 11 with the measuring of the temple. We're also going to look at that a little bit more tomorrow with Revelation 14 with the 3 warnings from the angels. I believe that references 3 raptures, and just as we saw, with the introduction for the 2 witnesses, talked about, John had to eat that book, or scroll that turned bitter, that was sweet to the mouth but turned bitter. With the 3 warnings from those angels, that introduces the scene where the harvest is. So that tells me, confirms what God has shown me previously, that these are 3 separate rapture calls. These are 3 separate time periods. So definitely keep these things in mind. Continue to pray on them. I may split this into 2 videos just because this did get a little longer with that summary. But again, just trying to demonstrate and show to everyone this is attainable. This is much easier to understand, I think, than we saw before. Lord, please show us amazing things in your word. Proverbs, I'm not surprised. It's going to be very important. Proverbs 25, you've got a lot underlined here, but my eye is drawn to verse 32. I'm sorry, 24, 32. I applied my heart to what I observed, and I learned a lesson from what I saw. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man. If the rapture has already happened and you are watching this video because you're trying to figure out what to do next, please heed those words. You don't have a lot of time. Get things together, buy food, and pray over the next steps, over the next days. Many are going to look for safety, and I'm hearing that Texas is going to be a place that will be relatively free from the mark of the beast. However, as we saw earlier this year in 2021, it endured many weather weapon strikes with large hail that somehow could burn. So do keep in mind, another place, Mexico. I know people don't think of Mexico as a place that's necessarily safe, but that's where the great revival is going to start, is the word that many are getting. Let's go ahead and pray. God, thank you so much for showing us great and marvelous things in your word. Lord, these are the end times, and we want to be ready. We want to be ready for all that you have for us, God. We bless your holy name. In Jesus' name I pray, amen and amen.